Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you for watching my presentation. It's great to see you all. My name is Monifa Hanim. I'm from Class 2019 English Language Education Department, Faculty of Social Science and Humanities. Thank you, secondly, for the chance that given to me. Now I would like to present about Hamlet by William Shakespeare. William Shakespeare's Hamlet is one of the world's best-known plays by a man widely considered the world's greatest playwright. Spooфed on The Simpsons and South Park, adapted by Disney and filmed and staged countless times. Hamlet provides our culture consciousness. Even if this is your first direct exposure to the play, you are likely already familiar with some of its more memorable lines, like "to be or not to be," or "Alas, poor Yorick, I knew him, Horatio." William Shakespeare is widely considered the most famous playwright of all time. Although there are no records of this birth, Shakespeare's birthday is traditionally celebrated on April 23rd, 3 days before his baptism at Holy Trinity Church in Stratford-upon-Avon, England. There he spent most of his life while going to London for work. In November 1582, Shakespeare married Anne Hathaway, and together they had 3 children. 10 years later, he had established himself in London and found success as both an actor and a playwright with one of the two most popular London companies, the Lord Chamberlain's Men, which would later be known as the King's Men. The Lord Chamberlain's Men performed Shakespeare's work at court for Queen Elizabeth I and later as the King's Men at the court of James I. However, in 1596, Shakespeare's son Hamlet tragically died at the young age of 11. Shortly after Shakespeare's father died, this event may have been the inspiration for the play Hamlet. Shakespeare himself died in April 1616, leaving a legacy to both theatre and literature that still endures today. Shakespeare's plays are timeless with a universality to which anyone can relate. It's for this reason that so many 21st century analogs exist like Disney's The Lion King. What Shakespeare was able to do so well was to incorporate ancient themes, modern nuances, and his own unique twist. For instance, for personal gain, adultery, taking madness, all themes you would expect to see in biblical stories like Cain and Abel. In addition to the universality of his plot, his use of dramatic and situational irony along with fast-paced action never failed to draw the audience in. Hamlet opens with the death of King Hamlet and the coronation of his brother Claudius. Prince Hamlet encounters a ghost telling him that Claudius murdered the king. Hamlet forced the avenge the king's death by killing Claudius. Ophelia, Hamlet's love interest, tells her father Polonius that Hamlet has gone mad. Polonius tells King Claudius that Hamlet is driven mad by his love for Ophelia. They scheme a meeting between the two in which Hamlet tells Ophelia he never loved her. The king decides he needs to send Hamlet to England. Before he does, however, he and Polonius plot another meeting between Hamlet and his mother. In the meantime, Hamlet sets up a play depicting the murder of King Hamlet. While watching Hamlet plays, Claudius goes mad. On his way to speak with his mother, Hamlet nearly kills Claudius, but he hesitates because he thinks Claudius is prying. During his argument with his mother, Hamlet kills Polonius, who was spying on them. Claudius, now paranoid, sends Hamlet to England with a death warrant. In the meantime, Ophelia commits suicide. Hamlet comes back to England and sees Ophelia's funeral. Claudius and Laertes plot Hamlet's murder at a fencing match, poisoning the sword and the wine. At the fencing match, Claudius pours poison into Hamlet, but Gertrude drinks it instead and she dies. Laertes tells Hamlet that both of them have also been poisoned. Laertes refers the plot to everyone, proclaiming that the king is to blame and rage. Hamlet kills Claudius, stabbing him and forcing him to drink the poison after everyone dies. Young Fortinbras returns from Poland. Horatio tells him what happened, and Fortinbras says Hamlet should have a soldier funeral. Among the significant symbols in the play are Yorick's skull, which represents mortality, the mousetrap, the characters and events of the play within the play symbolize actual events in Hamlet, and the ghost which act as both a bad omen and a trustworthy spirit. Among the play's themes are mortality, which act as the central theme with the presence of the ghost, certain characters contemplating suicide, and the grave digger, and Ophelia's funeral, truth versus deception, which is present in almost every scene. Shakespeare uses this theme to illustrate the consequence of deceitful actions. Thought versus action can be seen as a way to contrast different characters such as Hamlet and Fortinbras. Madness is used by Shakespeare, and even violent madness as another form of deception or to reveal painful truth. Revenge carries the plot with Hamlet seeking revenge again in his uncle. Fortinbras seeking revenge on Denmark, and Laertes seeking revenge again Prince Hamlet setting. The setting of the story. The setting of the story takes place in the country of Denmark, Kingdom of Denmark in the late medieval period. The characters. First character is Hamlet. Hamlet is the Prince of Denmark, the son of the Queen Gertrude and the late King Hamlet, the nephew of the present King Claudius. The protagonist characters, Hamlet is melancholy and cynical, full of hatred for his uncle's scheming and thoughtful young man who has studied at the University of Wittenberg. Hamlet is sometimes indecisive and hesitant, but at other times prone to impulsive acts. Number 2 is Claudius, the King of Denmark, Hamlet's uncle and stepfather, Gertrude's husband, the play antagonist character. The villain of the play, Claudius is a calculating, ambitious politician driven by his sexual appetites and his lust for power. But he occasionally shows signs of good and human feeling his love for Gertrude. For instance, Sims care. Number 3. Gertrude, the Queen of Denmark, Hamlet's mother, widow of old Hamlet, and recently married to Claudius. Gertrude loves Hamlet deeply, but she is a weak woman who seeks affection and status rather than moral rectitude or truth. Number 4. Polonius. He is arrogant, conniving old man. Polonius is the father of Laertes and Ophelia, Claudius' advisor. Number 5. Horatio. Hamlet's close friend, who studied with the prince at the university in Wittenberg. Horatio is loyal and helpful to Hamlet. Ophelia. Number 6. Ophelia. Polonius' daughter, a beautiful young woman with whom Hamlet has been in love. Ophelia is sweet and innocent young girl who obeys her father and her brother Laertes. Number 7. Laertes, Polonius' son and Ophelia's brother, a young man who spends much of the play in France, passionate and quick to actions. Laertes is clearly a foil for reflective Hamlet. Number 8. Fortinbras, the young prince of Norway, whose father, the king, also named Fortinbras, was killed by Hamlet's father. Now Fortinbras wishes to attack Denmark to avenge his father's honor. Number 9. The Ghost, the spectre of Hamlet's recently deceased father, the ghost who claims to have been murdered by Claudius, calls upon Hamlet to avenge him. A member of the King's Men, by the end of his career, Shakespeare paradoxically made a name for himself, depicting the killing of kings including Hamlet, Claudius, and even Prince Hamlet, of whom his successor, Fortinbras, says he was likely, had he been put on to have proved. Most royal Shakespeare contemporaries heaped similar praise on him, Ben Jonson calling him soul of the age, the Apollos, the light, the wonder of our stage, concluding that Shakespeare was not of an age, but for all time, a poet himself. Jonson also proved a profit scenes from countries later. We still find so much relevance to our life in Shakespeare's immortal words. Thank you for watching my presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.